Hello, this video will show you how to create a new project in Visual Studio Express 2012 for Windows Desktop. So the first thing we're going to do is when you open Visual Studio, this is the screen that comes up. This is the start page that you see in front of you, which you can close by clicking on that X. And we are going to go create a new Win32 console application, and this is what we're going to do for the whole term. Every time you create a project, you're going to go create a new Win32 console application. So you're going to start by saying File, New Project, and the first thing we are going to do is make sure that it says Visual C++ on the left hand side, and we want to make sure we have Win32 console application selected. And down here in this area is where you figure out where you're going to put your projects. By default, it puts it under your documents. There is a folder called Visual Studio 2012 projects, and it puts it under there. And you can leave it there if you want to keep all your projects in the same folder. Just give it a different name or a meaningful name. If we are going to start out by saying, I want to create a Hello World project, then that's what you would call it. If you're going to do something with assignment 1, then I would name it appropriately. And then I'm going to click OK. And we are going to go into application settings. This step is very important. Go into application settings. And you're going to make sure it says empty project under additional options. We want to click empty project, and then we finish. This will create an empty project, which is nothing but a folder under the projects folder in your documents folder. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add or create a new source file, which is where we actually write the code. So if you notice here on the right hand side, you have what is called a Solution Explorer. So if you're not able to see this for some reason, if you go to View, make sure that if you click on Solution Explorer, it should turn it on, so you should be able to see this view. And we have 3 folders: header files, resource files, and source files, and all these folders should be empty. You should not have anything in them. Under source files is where we are going to create our new file where we are going to write code. So if you right click in that folder, we get a menu. We're going to say Add New Item. That's going to let us add or create a new file. Again, we want to make sure the left hand side says Visual C++, and we want to make sure we're going to create a CPP file, and we want to give it a name. Don't call it source.cpp. All your files will end up being called source.cpp, and it won't make any sense. I'm going to call this Hello World because that is what we're going to do. And notice where it puts it. It puts it under the projects folder, your Hello World project, which is what we created in the step before. Then we're going to come here and say, we're not going to do anything with that. We just give it a name, and we're going to say add, and this creates a new file, and it brings up the editor where we can actually type some code. So then here is where you can type in any code that says this program demonstrates simple output to the screen. And we write some code here, or you can copy and paste from some of our existing files. So let's go ahead and write a very simple piece of code so I can show you how to build and how to run the code. So include IOStream, something we need for every code file. Using namespace std, we need that also. Int main, we need that. These are all standard lines that we're going to see in every code. And I'm going to write a very simple one-line code that says output hello world to the screen, and also output a new line at the end of it. End L or end line says output a new line, and the semicolon at the end of each line says end of statement. Cout says console out. Between double quotes, you tell it what you want it to print. And these are our stream operators, extraction operators as we call them, that says output to the screen. And end line says output a new line. And the return 0. So now we're going to go up to build, and you can either hit F7 or you can say build solution, and this will compile it and make sure there are no errors. And if there are errors, there's an output window here at the bottom, and it's going to tell you what the errors are. If there are no errors, it says 1 succeeded, 0 failed. And at that time, we can run it. You go up to debug, and you do this option that says debug start without debugging. You don't want to do the other option that says start debugging. You want to do start without debugging at this point in time. A screen pops up and prints out what you told it to print out, and then it says press any key to continue. And if you hit enter, it will close that window. So that is all we wanted to do for this project. So this video simply shows you how to create a new project, how to create a new file, and how to write a very simple piece of code, how to build it, and how to run it. With this, you should be able to get started.